The rain was cold against my face, but I barely felt it. You became ugly after kids. My Korean husband's words echoed as I stood outside the house he'd locked me out of. Through the windows, I could see him with her. Blonde, white, everything I'd never be. My daughters were inside, sleeping. 4 years old and about to wake up without their mother. I could already hear what they'd ask. "Mommy, why doesn't Daddy want you anymore?" A black Mercedes pulled up. Another Korean man stepped out, his eyes holding something my husband's never did. "Get in," he said quietly, "before he erases you completely." I should have asked who he was, should have questioned why he was there. But when you're drowning and someone offers a hand, you don't ask if they can swim. I got in, and discovered that salvation always comes with a price. Chapter 1. The rain was cold, but I barely felt it. I stood outside the penthouse in Greenwich, the one with the circular driveway and the designer landscaping, the one Architectural Digest had photographed 3 years ago, when Theo Park was named one of New York's 40 under 40. My hair, the natural curls I'd finally stopped straightening 6 months ago, was plastered to my skull. The red dress, the one I'd been squeezing into for weeks, the one that almost fit if I didn't breathe, clung to my body like a second skin. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see him. Theo, my husband. His hands were in Veronique's blonde hair, her pale arms wrapped around his neck. They were kissing in our living room, on the couch where I'd nursed our daughters, under the painting I'd helped him choose at that gallery in Soho. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. "Ma'am?" A security guard I didn't recognize approached. "Mr. Park asked me to make sure you left the premises. I can give you 10 more minutes to collect your thoughts, but then I'll need to escort you off the property." I stared at him. "I live here." "Not anymore, ma'am." Mr. Park was very clear. The black Mercedes pulled up then, sleek and silent. The window rolled down, and I saw him. Korean, maybe mid-30s, with sharp cheekbones and dark eyes that seemed to see straight through me. He wore a suit that probably cost more than my car used to be worth, before Theo sold it last year, claiming we didn't need 2 vehicles. "Alyssa Park?" he said, and his accent was different from Theo's. Theo had spent his whole life sanding down his Korean accent, his heritage, anything that made him seem foreign. This man's voice carried soul in it, unapologetically. I stared at him through the rain. "Do I know you?" "We met once, 4 years ago, Sunhai's wedding." He leaned across the passenger seat. "I'm Daewon, Han Daewon, Sunhai's brother. She called me tonight, frantic. Said you weren't answering your phone, said something was very wrong." The memory surfaced slowly, blurred by rain and shock. Sunhai's wedding in the Hamptons. There'd been a man, Korean but not like Theo. He'd asked about my design work, made me laugh with stories about growing up with Sunhai in Busan before they'd moved to the States. We'd talked for maybe 20 minutes about architecture as frozen music, about negative space as design element. Then Theo had appeared, his hand tight on my elbow, steering me away. Later that night, he'd asked why I was flirting with Sunhai's brother. I'd been so confused. We were just talking about design. "That was you," I said. "Get in," Daewon said quietly. "Please. You're soaked, and that guard is going to force you off the property in exactly 8 minutes. Let me help." I should have said no. Should have called a cab, found a hotel, figured it out on my own like a functional adult. But I was so tired. Tired of being strong, tired of being perfect, tired of everything. I got in. The car was warm. Leather seats, heated. Daewon shrugged off his jacket, Burberry, and draped it over my shoulders without asking. It smelled expensive and clean and like someone who hadn't just destroyed my life. Paramount Hotel, he told his driver, then turned to me. When did you last eat? I couldn't remember. The anniversary dinner that never happened? But I'd been too anxious to eat lunch, too focused on fitting into this dress. My hands were shaking. I clasped them together to make it stop. There's water, Daewon said, pulling a bottle from somewhere and opening it for me. Drink, you're in shock. I drank mechanically, the water tasteless. We were already moving, the penthouse disappearing behind us. Through the rain-streaked window, I caught one last glimpse of the house. The girls' bedroom window was dark. Oriana and Delphine, 4 years old, sleeping upstairs while their father destroyed their mother in the living room below. Tell me what happened, Daewon said, not demanding, not pushy, just there. The words came out in a rush, disjointed and messy. Our 7th anniversary. The reservation at Mercado I'd made 6 weeks ago. How I'd sat at that table for 2 hours watching couples celebrate while the staff shot me pitying looks. How I'd finally given up at 9:15 and come home to find Theo drunk. Veronique's lipstick smudged on his collar. Both of them laughing about something on his phone. He said, my voice cracked. He said I became ugly after kids. Daewon's hands tightened on his knees, but his voice stayed gentle. Go on. He said he couldn't look at me anymore, that I'd let myself go, that Veronique takes care of herself, makes an effort, understands his world. I laughed, a bitter sound. His world, like I hadn't spent 7 years trying to fit into it. I didn't tell Daewon everything. Didn't tell him about the skin-lightening creams Theo's mother had given me after the girls were born. The ones that sat in my bathroom drawer unused but always there, always waiting. Didn't tell him how Theo had started calling my natural hair unprofessional after I stopped straightening it. How he'd introduced me as my wife, she's in design, at his company parties, but never actually explained what I designed, as if my work was too small to matter. Didn't tell him that the first thing Theo had said when Oriana was born wasn't, she's beautiful, but she got your nose, not mine. Like my features were something to apologize for. How long has the affair been going on? Daewon asked. He said a year. Maybe more. He stopped counting. I closed my eyes. A year. While I was taking care of our daughters. While I was trying every diet to lose the baby weight. While I was dying slowly and didn't even know it. Did he tell you to leave? He threw me out. Gave me 20 minutes to pack a bag. Said the house is in his name, the girls stay with him until lawyers figure out custody. My throat was closing. He had a security company on speed dial, Daewon. He'd planned this. While I was making anniversary reservations, he was hiring guards to remove me from my own home. The Paramount appeared ahead, all glass and gold. The kind of hotel I used to dream about designing for, back when I still thought I had a career. I can't afford this, I said automatically. You're not paying. Daewon's voice was firm. Consider it a loan against future success. Or don't consider it at all. Just come inside and get warm before you catch pneumonia. Chapter 2. The lobby was a blur. Daewon handled everything. The check-in, the key cards, the elevator that shot us up to the 43rd floor. The presidential suite was bigger than my first 3 apartments combined. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, rain streaking the glass like tears. I ordered food before we arrived, Daewon said, pulling off his wet shirt unself-consciously. Underneath, he was lean and defined, and I looked away fast, heat rising in my cheeks despite everything. It should be here soon. Bathrooms through there. There are robes. Take your time. This is too much. I can't. Then don't think of it as accepting charity. He was pulling a dry sweater over his head. Think of it as me being selfish. Sun Hai would kill me if anything happened to you. I'm protecting myself. It should have made me smile. It didn't. Nothing would make me smile again. I went to the bathroom and peeled off the red dress. In the mirror, I looked exactly how I felt, destroyed. My natural hair, which Theo hated, hung in wet ropes. My body, which had grown and birthed 2 humans, showed every sign of it. Stretch marks silvered my hips and belly. My breasts, which had fed my daughters for a year each, weren't the perky things Theo had married. I'd spent 5 years apologizing for this body. 5 years trying to shrink it, lighten it, make it more acceptable to a man who'd chosen me because I was different, and then punished me for not becoming the same. The shower was hot enough to hurt. I stood under the spray until my skin turned pink, until I couldn't tell what was water and what was tears. When I finally emerged, wrapped in a robe so soft it felt like being held, I found Daewon had set up dinner on the coffee table. Soup, bread, tea, and a bottle of wine I recognized from Theo's collection, the kind he only brought out for important clients. "Sit," Daewon said. "Eat, then we'll figure out next steps." I sat, picked up the soup, some kind of Asian broth with noodles, rich and comforting. Each bite helped me feel slightly more human. "I need to call my daughters," I said suddenly. "They're going to wake up and I won't be there and they'll think—" "I already tried," Daewon said gently. "While you were in the shower, the house number goes straight to voicemail. His cell phone too." The soup bowl slipped in my hands. Daewon caught it before it spilled. "He's not going to let me talk to them," I whispered. "Not tonight. But tomorrow we get you a lawyer. Someone who knows how to fight this." He poured me wine. Sun Hai gave me a name, Erica Vondra. "She's expensive, but she's vicious. I already called her. She'll see us tomorrow at 1. "Daewon, I can't afford—" "Stop!" His voice was sharper than I'd heard it. "Stop saying you can't afford things. Stop making yourself small. That's what he did to you, isn't it? Made you believe you were less than. Made you grateful for scraps." I stared at him. "You don't know anything about my marriage. I know that 4 years ago at Sun Hai's wedding, you talked about design like it was oxygen, like you couldn't live without creating. And when I asked what you were working on, you lit up describing this restaurant space with massive windows you wanted to turn into art." He leaned forward. "Then your husband appeared and you just dimmed. Like someone had reached inside you and turned down a switch. I watched it happen. That's not... I went back to Seoul and asked Sun Hai about you. She told me you'd stopped designing when you got pregnant. That your husband thought it was better if you focused on the family. That you'd seemed happy with the choice." He paused. "But I kept thinking about how you looked when you talked about those windows. And I knew. Happy people don't look like that when they remember who they used to be." My hands were shaking again. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because when Sun Hai called me tonight, I was already on a plane to New York. I'd seen the news. Your husband's affair was in the business sections. Pictures of him with his assistant at some charity gala. I saw his face and recognized him from the wedding." Daewon's dark eyes held mine. "I got on that plane knowing I might see you. Hoping you'd need help. That makes me either someone who cares or someone with ulterior motives. I'm not sure which yet." "That's honest." "I'm trying to be." He stood, moved toward the bedroom. "I'm taking the couch. The bed's yours. If you need anything, I'll be right here. And Alyssa." He turned back. "Tomorrow we start fighting. Tonight you rest. That's an order." He left me alone with soup and wine and questions I was too exhausted to answer. I tried calling Theo again, straight to voicemail. Tried the house. Same. I pulled up the nanny cam app on my phone, the one I'd installed in the girls' room so I could check on them when I couldn't sleep. The screen showed access denied. He'd locked me out of everything. I finished the wine, climbed into bed that felt like sleeping on a cloud, and stared at the city lights through the window. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Erica Vondra. Daewon Han retained me on your behalf. Don't communicate with your husband. Don't post on social media. Don't do anything until we meet tomorrow. And Mrs. Park, prepare for war." Mrs. Park? I'd taken his name because Theo said it would be easier professionally. Said Alyssa Park sounded better than Alyssa Moreau. Said his family would accept me faster if I showed I was committed. His family still hadn't accepted me. His mother still introduced me as Theo's wife instead of by name. Still made comments about my hair, my skin, my exotic features. Still asked when I was going to give them real Korean grandchildren, as if Oriana and Delphine didn't count. I set my alarm and closed my eyes, too exhausted to cry anymore. Chapter 3. I woke to sunlight and panic. For one perfect second, I forgot where I was. Then it crashed back. Theo's words, Veronique's blonde hair, the rain, this stranger's hotel room. I grabbed my phone. 9:17 a.m. I'd slept for 9 hours. No missed calls from Theo. No texts from the girls. Nothing. From the living room, I heard Daewon on the phone, speaking rapid Korean. His voice was different in his own language, sharper, more authoritative. This was the CEO voice, I realized, the man who'd built an empire. When I emerged from the bedroom, he glanced up and ended his call immediately. "Good morning," he said. And there was coffee already poured, steam rising from an expensive-looking cup. "There's breakfast. I wasn't sure what you liked, so I ordered everything." The dining table was covered. Eggs, bacon, fruit, pastries, pancakes, rice, kimchi, banchan. Enough food for 8 people. "This is ridiculous," I said, but I was already reaching for the coffee. He'd made it exactly. Right. Cream, no sugar without asking. Somehow that small thing broke something in me. Theo had never remembered how I took my coffee in 7 years of marriage. "I have meetings until noon," Daewon said, pouring his own cup. "Stay as long as you need. The room is booked through next week. Order anything from room service, rest, and we'll see Erica at 1. "A week? Daewon, I can't stay here for a week. Where else are you going to go?" I didn't have an answer. My parents had retired to Arizona 2 years ago. Sun High was in Paris. I had exactly $300 in my personal checking account. Theo controlled everything else, had moved me to an allowance 3 years ago, because I was bad with money. "I need to see my daughters," I said, the words bursting out. "I don't care about custody hearings or lawyers. I need to see Oriana and Delphine. I need them to know I didn't abandon them." Daewon set down his coffee cup carefully. "What's your husband's mother's routine? With the girls?" "What?" Sun High mentioned once that his mother takes them to the park on Thursdays. Greenwich Park, near the water. Is that still true? "Yes, but I don't see how." "Public park. No restraining order yet. If you happen to be there when they arrive." He trailed off meaningfully. Hope flared in my chest, painful and bright. "That's today, Thursday. She usually gets there around 3. "Then we'll make sure you're there at 2:30. He was already on his phone. "My driver will take you. I'll come too if you want. Moral support." "You don't have to." "I want to." He looked up, and something in his expression made my breath catch. "I want to help Alyssa. Let me." After he left for his meetings, I tried to eat but couldn't manage more than fruit and coffee. I called Sun High. "Ali!" She answered on the second ring, her voice thick with sleep and a French time zone. "Oh my God, are you okay? Daewon said he found you, but he wouldn't tell me anything else. I'm with your brother. At the Paramount. He's been... I searched for the word. Kind. That's Daewon. Kind to a fault. She sounded relieved and exhausted. What happened? Your texts last night were frantic and then nothing. I told her everything. The anniversary, Theo's cruelty, getting thrown out, Daewon's perfectly timed arrival. She listened without interrupting, and when I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. I'm catching the next flight, she finally said. I'll be there tonight. No, stay. Finish your work. I'm okay. You're not okay. Your husband threw you out and took your kids. Daewon hired me a lawyer. I'm meeting her this afternoon. And Saul? I took a breath. I need to ask you something about your brother. What? Why is he really doing this? Don't say because we're friends or because you asked him to. There's something else. Sunhai sighed. After my wedding, he asked about you. Multiple times. I told him you were married, happy, off limits. He never asked. Again, but... She paused. Daewon doesn't do anything without a reason, and his reasons aren't always the ones you'd expect. He's been alone for a long time, Ally. Built his company, made his fortune, achieved everything he set out to do. But he's lonely. I think you reminded him what it felt like to want something just for himself. That was 4 years ago. We talked for 20 minutes. 20 minutes can be enough. Trust me, I've watched my brother in business meetings. He decides in the first 5 minutes if something's worth his time. He decided you were worth remembering. She softened. Look, I love him. He's a good man. But be careful, okay? Not because he'll hurt you, because he won't, but because you're vulnerable right now and it's easy to confuse rescue with love. I'm not confusing anything. He's helping me, that's all. Okay. But Ally? When this is over, when you have your daughters back and your life sorted, check in with yourself. Make sure you know the difference between gratitude and something more. We talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. I spent the rest of the morning working on designs, losing myself in lines and shapes. My hands remembered the movements, even after 5 years. It felt like coming home. At 2 o'clock, Daewon returned. He'd changed into casual clothes, jeans and a sweater that somehow still looked expensive. When he saw me hunched over the coffee table with sketches spread everywhere, he smiled. You've been working. I can't help it. When I'm anxious, I design things. I showed him what I'd been drawing. Hotel lobby concepts, restaurant spaces, the kind of work I used to do. He studied them with genuine interest, not the polite, glazed look Theo always got when I tried to show him my designs. These are exceptional, particularly this one. He pointed to a lobby design with traditional Korean elements integrated into modern spaces. The way you're using negative space here, the eme principle, do you know about ma? The Japanese concept? The space between things that gives them meaning? Korean, too. We call it yeobaek. The space that isn't empty, just waiting. He looked at me. You understand it instinctively. Most Western designers don't. I studied Asian design philosophy in school. It was my favorite class. Something shifted in his expression. Keep these. I might have use for them later. The drive to Greenwich Park felt like driving toward a cliff edge. Daewon sat beside me in the back seat, not touching me but present. Solid. What do I say to them? I asked. How do I explain that Mommy had to leave but didn't want to? You tell them the truth, in words they can understand. You tell them you love them. You tell them you're fighting to come back. He turned to face me. And Alyssa? You don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. The park was exactly as I remembered. Manicured lawns, old trees, the playground visible from the parking lot. I could see it from here. The jungle gym where Oriana loved to climb, the swings where Delphine would pump her legs for hours, and there they were, my daughters. Oriana in her yellow jacket, Delphine in purple, both running toward the swings with the boundless energy only 4-year-olds possessed. Behind them, Theo's mother, Margaret Park, walked slowly, phone pressed to her ear. My heart was trying to beat out of my chest. I can't, I whispered. What if they don't want to see me? They're 4 years old and you're their mother. They want to see you. Daewon opened the car door. Come on, I'll be right beside you. We walked toward the playground like walking through water. Every step felt impossible. Margaret saw us first. Her eyes widened, and she quickly ended her phone call. But Oriana saw me second. Mommy! She shrieked, her voice carrying across the playground. Mommy! She launched herself off the swing mid-arc, hit the ground running, and barreled into me at full speed. Caught her, lifting her up even though she was getting too big for it, and she wrapped her arms around my neck so tight I couldn't breathe. Mommy, where were you? She was crying. Daddy said you had to go away, but I missed you so much. I missed you too, baby. I was sobbing now, full on breaking down while holding my daughter. So much. Delphine approached more slowly, her dark eyes, so much like mine, watchful and cautious. She'd always been the careful one, the thinker. Where Oriana dove in head first, Delphine observed and calculated. When she reached us, she didn't hug me. Just stood there, studying my face like she was trying to decide something. You left us, she said finally, her voice small and accusing. I didn't want to leave, sweetheart. Daddy and I had a big fight, and he asked me to go. But I'm working on coming back, I promise. Daddy said you didn't want us anymore. The words hit me hard. I set Oriana down and knelt in front of Delphine, taking her small, hands in mine. That's not true. That's not even a little bit true. You and Oriana are my whole world. Every single thing I'm doing right now is to get back to you. Do you understand? She studied me for a long moment, then nodded slightly. Not convinced, but willing to listen. Alyssa. Margaret's voice, tight with disapproval. What are you doing here? Visiting my daughters in a public park. I stood up, keeping one hand on each girl. I'm allowed to do that. Theo said, Theo doesn't get to decide where I go in public spaces. I kept my voice steady, aware that Oriana and Delphine were watching. I just needed them to know I didn't abandon them, that I love them. Margaret looked between me and Daewon, her expression calculating. She was in her 60s, elegant in the way wealthy Korean women often were. Perfect hair, expensive clothing, judgment radiating from every pore. And who is this? She asked, gesturing at Daewon. A friend, I said. Who's helping me? Theo mentioned you'd found someone, a Korean man. She said it like an accusation, and I understood. To her, I should have been grateful that her son had married me at all. A black woman wasn't supposed to have options, certainly not with another Korean man who was probably wealthier and more successful than her son. Daewon stepped forward, his voice polite but cold. Mrs. Park, I'm Han Daewon. It's nice to meet you. I'm helping Alyssa because she's my sister's best friend, and because it's the right thing to do. Nothing more, nothing less. Mommy, who is he? Oriana was looking at Daewon with open curiosity. Daewon knelt down to her level, and I watched something soften in his face. I'm Daewon. I'm your mommy's friend. I'm helping her with some grown-up stuff that's kind of complicated. What kind of stuff? Delphine asked, still suspicious. Well, your mommy is a really talented designer. Do you know what that means? Both girls shook their heads. It means she makes beautiful spaces for people. Buildings, hotels, restaurants. She makes things that are just in her imagination become real. And I think that's pretty cool, so I asked her to work with me. Does that make sense? Mommy makes things? Oriana's eyes went wide. Like art? Exactly like art. But bigger. I watched my daughters' faces as they processed this. They'd never seen me work, had never known I had a career before them, a life beyond being their mother. Theo had made sure of that. I should call Theo, Margaret said, pulling out her phone. Go ahead, I said. I'm not doing anything wrong. She stepped away, phone already dialing. I turned back to my daughters. Listen to me, both of you. Mommy's going to get her own apartment soon. A really nice one with a view of the Brooklyn Bridge. And you're going to come stay with me sometimes. Would you like that? Can we have our own rooms? Delphine asked. You can each have your own room, decorated however you want. What colors do you like? Purple, Delphine said immediately. Yellow, Oriana chimed in. Like sunshine. Then that's what we'll do. Purple for Delphine, yellow for Oriana, and we'll pick out everything together. For the first time since I'd arrived, Delphine smiled. Small, tentative, but real. A car screeched into the parking lot. Theo. You need to go, Margaret said urgently, returning. Alyssa, please don't make this worse. Daewon's hand found my elbow, gentle but firm. She's right. We should leave. But the girls, you told them what they needed to hear. They know you love them. That's enough for today. Theo was out of his car now, striding toward us. He was still handsome. I'd always found him handsome. Tall, fit, with the kind of features that photographed well. His family had come from Seoul 3 generations ago, had built wealth through real estate and careful marriages. He'd been raised to be perfect, to never show weakness, to always win. He looked at me with pure fury. What the hell are you doing here? Talking to my daughters in a public park. I'm allowed. You're not allowed anywhere near them until the custody hearing. There's no restraining order, Theo. I checked. I kept my voice calm, though my heart was racing. I have every right to be here. His eyes slid to Daewon, and something ugly crossed his face. Of course. You didn't waste any time, did you? Mr. Park, Daewon said, his voice dangerously quiet. I suggest you watch your tone. Or what? You'll buy me out? Flash your Korean credentials and make me look bad? Theo laughed, bitter. I know exactly who you are. Han Daewon, Hansung Group. Worth what, 3 billion? 4? And you just happened to swoop in the moment my wife needed help? Your ex-wife, if tomorrow's filing goes through, Daewon corrected. We're not divorced yet, and I know we've met before. Theo stepped closer to Daewon, ignoring me completely now. Sunhai's wedding. I remember you watching Alyssa, watching my wife like you were, cataloging her for later use. Daddy, stop yelling! Oriana's small voice cut through the tension. Theo looked down at his daughters, and I watched him recalibrate. Smooth the anger from his face, adopt the concerned father expression he'd perfected. Girls, go to Grandma. Daddy needs to talk to Mommy for a minute. I don't want to, Oriana said, clinging to my leg. Oriana, now. His voice had that edge that meant obey or else. Both girls reluctantly went to Margaret, looking back at me with frightened faces. Once they were out of earshot, Theo turned back to me. You think this looks good for you? Running to another man the second we separate? Letting him buy you hotels rooms and expensive lawyers? You threw me out. I gave you space to cool down. You chose to move in with your boyfriend. He's not. Save it. Theo pulled out his phone, showed me the screen. It was a photo of me getting into Daewon's car last night, rain-soaked, clearly distressed. I have evidence. Testimony from the security guard who watched you leave with him. Photos of you staying at the Paramount in his suite. Do you have any idea how this is going to look in court? Like a friend helping someone in crisis. Like a woman who was already cheating. Who used our anniversary as an excuse to leave. He smiled, and it was the smile I'd learned to fear. The one that meant he'd already won. My lawyer's filing for emergency custody tomorrow. Full custody, Alyssa. And we're including evidence that you've been having an affair with Mr. Han here. That you planned this whole thing. That's a lie. Is it? Because it's going to be really interesting explaining to a judge how you just happened to have a billionaire waiting in the wings. He looked at Daewon. Tell me, Mr. Han. When did you and my wife first start your relationship? We don't have a relationship, Daewon said. I'm helping a friend. Right. And I'm sure the judge will believe that when we present evidence of you, investigating me for the past 4 years. Did you think I wouldn't find out? That I wouldn't notice inquiries into my business practices, my finances, my personal life? All traced back to Hansung Group's legal team? I turned to stare at Daewon. What? It's not what you think, Daewon started. Oh, it's exactly what she thinks, Theo cut in. Mr. Han here has been obsessed with you since Sunhai's wedding. Obsessed enough to run background checks, financial investigations, the whole 9 yards. Obsessed enough to be on a plane to New York within hours of our separation. Tell her, Han. Tell her how long you've been waiting for this moment. Daewon's jaw tightened, but he didn't deny it. We're leaving, Theo said, gesturing to his mother and daughters. And Alyssa? The custody hearing is Monday morning, 9 a.m. I suggest you bring a good explanation for why you moved in with your stalker. He called to his daughters. Oriana started crying, reaching for me. Delphine just watched, with those dark, knowing eyes. I love you, I called to them as Margaret ushered them toward Theo's car. I love you so much. Oriana was sobbing now, fighting against Margaret's grip. Mommy, come with us, please. I can't, baby, not yet, but soon, I promise. They were put in the car, driven away, and I stood there watching my daughters disappear, Theo's words echoing in my head. When the car was gone, I turned to Daewon. Is it true? Have you been investigating him? Daewon's expression was careful, controlled. Yes. For 4 years? Yes. Why? Because I watched him dim your light at that wedding, and I wanted to know what kind of man does that to someone extraordinary. He stepped closer. I'm not going to apologize for looking out for you, even from a distance. That's not looking out for me. That's... I couldn't even find the word. That's obsessive. That's wrong. Maybe. But I found things, Alyssa. Things that are going to help you win custody. Things that prove he's not the perfect father he pretends to be. What things? That's what we're going to discuss with Erica in exactly 45 minutes. He checked his watch. We need to go. I wanted to argue, wanted to scream at him for investigating my husband without my knowledge, for keeping secrets, for making me look like exactly what Theo accused me of being, a woman who'd been planning her escape. But my daughters' crying faces were burned into my brain. And if Daewon had information that could get them back, I needed it. Fine, I said. But after this meeting, you and I are going to have a very long conversation about boundaries. Fair enough. We drove to Erica's office in tense silence. I kept replaying Theo's words. 4 years? Daewon had been watching me, investigating my husband for 4 years. That wasn't normal. That wasn't healthy. That wasn't the action of someone who just wanted to help. Chapter 4. Erica Vondra's office was in Midtown, all glass and steel and the kind of view that screamed power. Her receptionist jumped up the moment she saw Daewon, which told me exactly how much money he was paying for this. Erica herself was exactly what I expected. Mid-50s, platinum blonde in a severe chignon, a suit that probably cost 5 figures, and eyes that could dissect you in seconds. "Mrs. Park," she said, shaking my hand with a grip like iron. "Or would you prefer Ms. Moreau?" "I understand that was your maiden name." "Alyssa is fine." "Alyssa, then. Sit." She gestured to chairs that were designer and uncomfortable, probably on purpose. "Let's talk about how badly you're fucked, and what we're going to do about it." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "Your husband has excellent representation. David Grayson is a shark who doesn't lose custody battles. He's already filed for emergency full custody citing abandonment, mental instability, and infidelity. The hearing is Monday. That gives us 72 hours to build a defense." She leaned forward. "So I'm going to be brutally honest. Right now, you're losing." My stomach dropped. "But I didn't abandon them. He threw me out. He has a security guard who will testify that you left voluntarily. He has his mother who will say you've been struggling since the girls were born. He has audio recordings." "What audio recordings?" Erica pulled out her tablet, tapped it, and my own voice filled the room. Me, crying. Saying, "I can't do this anymore, I just can't." I remembered that night. Delphine had the flu. Oriana had nightmares, neither would sleep. I'd been awake for 36 hours. I'd said those words around 3 a.m., exhausted and overwhelmed, but never meaning I wanted to give up on my children. "The context is gone," Erica said. "All a judge will hear is you saying you can't do it anymore. Add that to photos of you leaving with Daewon, staying at the Paramount, and the fact that he's been investigating your husband for years." She shook her head. "It looks bad, Alyssa. Really bad." "So what do? We fight dirty." She looked at Daewon. "Show her what you found." Daewon pulled out his own tablet. "Your husband's real estate company has been systematically violating fair housing laws, refusing to rent to families with children, refusing to rent to minorities, particularly black families. There are dozens of complaints filed with the city, all settled quietly with NDAs and payoffs." He swiped to another screen. Financial records. "He's also been hiding money, moving assets to offshore accounts, underreporting income. Classic financial abuse tactics. He kept you dependent while building a safety net you couldn't access." Another swipe. "The affair with Veronique isn't his first. There were 2 others before her, both assistants. One filed an HR complaint 4 years ago. It was settled with a $200,000 payout and an NDA." I stared at the information, trying to process. 4 years ago, when I was pregnant with the girls." "Yes." Daewon's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry." "How did you get all of this?" "I have very good investigators, and your husband isn't as careful as he thinks he is." He looked at Erica. "The fair housing violations are about to be investigated by the federal government. The announcement comes next week." "Perfect timing," Erica said with satisfaction. "A man under federal investigation can't claim to be the stable parent. But using this information makes it look like Daewon is manipulating the situation," I said. "Like he's using his resources to destroy Theo." "He is," Erica said bluntly. "But that doesn't make the information less true. Your husband is a criminal. He's an abuser. And he's using your daughters as weapons. I have zero problem using every tool at our disposal to stop him." I looked between them. Erica, cold and efficient. Daewon watching me with an expression I couldn't read. "What's the catch?" I asked, because there's always a catch. "The catch is that this gets ugly," Erica said. "Using this information means war. It means press coverage. It means your daughters will see their father arrested on the news. It means you'll be connected to Daewon in every article, every gossip site, every headline. They'll call you a gold digger who traded up from one rich Korean man to a richer one. She wasn't wrong. I could already see the headlines. Already imagine the comments section racism. But, Erica continued, it also means you have a real shot at getting your daughters back, at keeping them safe from a man who views them as property. So you need to decide, do you want to be nice or do you want to win? I thought about Oriana's tears, Delphine's suspicious eyes, the way Theo had smiled when he told me about the custody hearing, certain he'd already won. I want to win, I said, whatever it takes. Good. Erica smiled for the first time. Then let's burn his world down. Chapter 5. We spent the next 3 hours going over strategy. The evidence, the witnesses, the narrative we'd present. By the time we finished, it was dark outside and my head was spinning. One more thing, Erica said as we were leaving. You need stable employment and housing. A judge needs to see that you can provide for these children. Do you have a job lined up? I looked at Daewon. This was the moment. The job offer I'd been half expecting, half dreading. Yes, Daewon said. Hansung Group needs a head of interior design for our Manhattan flagship property. If Alyssa's interested, the position is hers. Erica's eyes narrowed. That's going to look like a legitimate job offer from a legitimate company, Daewon interrupted. Alyssa's design portfolio speaks for itself. I've been looking for someone with her specific skill set for 6 months. The fact that she needs the job and I need a designer is simply convenient timing. Fine. What about housing? I've located several apartments in her price range, Daewon said, pulling out another document. All 2-bedroom, all available for immediate occupancy. Alyssa can choose whichever she prefers. How did you know my price range? I estimated based on the salary for the position. Everything was happening so fast. Too fast. Job, apartment, custody battle, all of it spinning out of control. I need to think, I said, about all of this. You have until Sunday to decide, Erica said. Monday morning, I need to be able to tell that judge you have employment and housing secured. Figure it out. Outside the office, Daewon and I stood on the sidewalk in awkward silence. I should probably explain, he finally said. Yeah, you probably should. There's a coffee shop around the corner. Can we talk? I was exhausted, emotionally drained and angry. But I also needed answers. Fine. But Daewon? If you lie to me even once, I'm done. I don't care how much money you have or how much you can help. I'm done with men who lie. I won't lie, he promised. The coffee shop was small and warm and smelled like cinnamon. We found a corner table and Daewon ordered us both coffee without asking what I wanted. He got it right again. Cream, no sugar. I'm not a stalker, he said once we were seated. I want to make that clear up front. I didn't follow you around or track your movements or anything creepy. You just investigated my husband for 4 years. I investigated a man who I suspected was abusing someone I cared about. There's a difference. You didn't care about me. We talked for 20 minutes 4 years ago. 20 minutes was enough. He leaned forward. Alyssa, I've been in 1,000 business meetings. I can read people in 5 minutes, whether they're going to be useful, trustworthy, worth my time. And in those 20 minutes with you, I saw someone extraordinary, someone with real vision and talent. And then I watched your husband shut you down, physically move you away from me, and treat you like property he owned. That doesn't explain 4 years of investigation. No. What explains that is asking Sun High about you casually over the years, hearing that you'd stopped designing, that you seemed tired and quieter, that maybe you weren't as happy as you claimed, and then seeing your husband in the business news with his assistant, looking like a man who felt entitled to everything. He paused. I didn't investigate because I'm obsessed. I investigated because I wanted to be ready. Ready for what? For the day you finally saw what he was. For the day you needed help. He held my gaze. And when Sunhai called me that night, when she said something was very wrong, I was already on a plane, because I'd been waiting for that call for 4 years. I should have been disturbed. Should have seen this as the red flag it obviously was. But sitting there looking at Daewon, I saw something else. Loneliness. You said earlier you're lonely, I said quietly. Is that true? Very. He smiled slightly. I built an empire. I have more money than I'll ever spend. I can have almost anything I want. But I haven't wanted anything. Really wanted something just for myself in a very long time. Not until I met you. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone you barely know. I know. Which is why I'm telling you the truth. So you can decide if you want my help, or if you want me to disappear. He leaned back. The job offer is real. The apartment options are real. The evidence against your husband is real. All of it exists whether you and I ever speak again. But I need you to know what you're accepting if you say yes. And what am I accepting? Someone who cares about you. Someone who wants to see you succeed not because it benefits me, but because I've spent 4 years imagining what you'd create if someone gave you the resources and freedom you deserve. He paused. But also someone who isn't entirely altruistic. Someone who hopes that eventually, when you've figured out who you are without your husband, you might choose to let me into your life, not as a rescuer, as an equal. I sipped my coffee, processing. This was possibly the most honest anyone had ever been with me. No games, no manipulation, just the truth, however uncomfortable. If I take the job, I said slowly, it has to be real. Not charity disguised as employment. I have to actually work, actually contribute, actually earn my salary. I wouldn't have it any other way. And the apartment, I pay my own rent. No subsidies, no secret help. If I can't afford it on my salary, I pick something cheaper. Agreed. And whatever this is between us. I gestured between us. It waits. I don't even know who I am right now, Daewon. I've been Mrs. Park for 7 years. Before that, I was trying to become Mrs. Park. I don't remember the last time I was just Alyssa. Then be just Alyssa. I'll wait. What if it takes months, years? What if I figure myself out and decide I don't want this? Then I'll be disappointed, but I'll survive. He smiled. I've been waiting 4 years already. I'm patient. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mrs. Park, this is David Grayson, your husband's attorney. We have evidence you've been cohabitating with Daewon Han. Please be advised this will be presented at Monday's hearing as proof of adultery and abandonment. I showed Daewon the message. He read it, his expression darkening. They're trying to intimidate you. It's working. Don't let it. He pulled out his own phone, typed something quickly. I just texted Erica. She'll handle it. And Alyssa? You're not cohabitating with me. You're staying in a hotel room I'm paying for while you find permanent housing. There's a massive legal difference. Will a judge see it that way? Monday we'll find out. We finished our coffee in silence. When we left, it was fully dark, the city alive around us. Daewon's driver was waiting. Where do you want to go? He asked. The hotel, I guess. Unless... I hesitated. Is there somewhere I can get clothes? Real clothes, not just what your assistant's wife picked out. I need to feel like myself. What does yourself look like? I thought about it. About the woman I'd been before Theo, before trying to fit into his world. Colorful, bold, not apologizing for taking up space. Daewon smiled. I know exactly where to take you. We ended up in a boutique in Soho, the kind of place I used to window shop but never enter. The owner, a black woman maybe 50 with the most incredible natural hair I'd ever seen, lit up when she saw me. "Baby, you look like you need some armor," she said, walking around me in a circle. "Let me guess. Bad breakup? Need to feel powerful again?" Something like that. I got you. What followed was 2 hours of trying on clothes I'd never have dared to wear as Mrs. Park. Bright colors, bold prints, natural fabrics that celebrated my body instead of trying to hide it. The owner, her name was Simone, kept bringing me things and telling me, "This is who you are, not who he wanted you to be." When I emerged from the dressing room in a burnt orange wrap dress that made my skin glow, Day One went still. "That," he said quietly, "that's the color." "It's too much. It's perfect." Simone cut me off. "And we're getting it, along with these." She held up 6 other outfits, all equally bold. "I can't afford all of this." "Consider it an advance on your first paycheck," Daewon said, "if you take the job." "I thought we agreed no charity." "It's not charity. It's a signing bonus." He smiled. "Every executive gets one." Simone was watching us with knowing eyes. This the new man or the old man? "Neither," I said quickly. "He's helping." "Honey, I've been in this business 30 years. I know the difference between a man who's helping and a man who's falling." She looked at Day One. "You're falling, aren't you?" "Completely," Day One admitted. "And you?" She turned to me. "I'm trying to figure out who I am." Good answer. Simone started wrapping up the clothes. "You figure that out first, then decide if he's worth keeping." Chapter 6. Back at the Paramount, loaded down with shopping bags, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hopeful. "Thank you," I told Day One as we rode the elevator to the 43rd floor. "For today, for all of it." "You keep thanking me. Stop." I don't know how else to express. The elevator doors opened, and we both froze. Standing in the hallway outside the suite was Theo. "We need to talk," he said. "About Monday, and about what you're willing to accept to make this easy." Daewon stepped in front of me slightly, protective. "How did you get up here?" "I own buildings, remember? I know how to talk to hotel managers." Theo's eyes were on me, cold and calculating. "Alyssa." 5 minutes. That's all I need." "She doesn't have to talk to you without her lawyer present," Daewon said. "I'm not here as her husband. I'm here as the father of her children." Theo looked past Daewon to me. "Please, 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I nodded. "Okay, 5 minutes." We went into the suite. Me, Theo, and Daewon, who refused to leave. Theo looked around the presidential suite with obvious disdain. "Nice. How much is he paying for this? 10,000 a night? That's not your concern. Everything about you is my concern until we're divorced." He sat down without being invited, crossed his legs. "Here's what I'm offering. Joint custody. 50-50 split. Reasonable child support. A fair division of assets. More fair than the prenup allows." "What's the catch?" "You end whatever this is with Han. You disappear from the public eye. You don't make me look like the villain." He leaned forward. "I'm not a monster, Alyssa. I don't want to destroy you, but I will if you force my hand. You already threw me out and took my children. I gave you space. You chose to make it a war." He glanced at Daewon. "How much is he paying you to design hotels or whatever?" "I'll match it. You can work from home, see the girls every day. All you have to do is walk away from him. No." "Excuse me?" "No. I'm not walking away from my career because you're uncomfortable with it. I'm not disappearing because you want to control the narrative." I stood up. "And I'm definitely not taking orders from a man who cheated on me for a year and then blamed me for it." Theo stood too. his jaw tight. You think you're going to win on Monday? Grayson is going to tear you apart. He's going to bring up every time you were too tired to play with the girls, every time you cried or got overwhelmed, every single moment where you were less than perfect. And then he's going to point to me, stable, employed, supported by my family. Who do you think the judge will choose? Maybe the parent who doesn't use his children as weapons. I'm protecting my children from their mother's instability. There's a difference. He moved toward the door, then turned back. Last chance, Alyssa. Take the deal. Because if you don't, I'm going to make sure you lose everything. The girls, your reputation, your dignity, all of it. Get out. He left, and the silence he left behind felt heavy. He's scared, Daewon said finally. Did you hear it in his voice? He's terrified because he's losing control. He's also right. I wasn't perfect. There were times I was overwhelmed, exhausted, struggling. What if the judge sees that and agrees with him? Then the judge is wrong. Daewon came to stand in front of me. Alyssa, you're about to walk into that courtroom and fight for your children, but you need to understand something first. You're not fighting to prove you're perfect. You're fighting to prove you're present. You're their mother. That's enough. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to trust that love would be enough. That showing up would matter. But I'd spent 7 years learning that wanting something didn't make it true. I need to sleep, I said. Monday's in 3 days and I need to be ready. Of course, I'll be on the couch if you need anything. But I couldn't sleep. I lay in that massive bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Oriana and Delphine, about whether they were sleeping okay, about whether they'd asked for me at bedtime, about whether Theo had told them more lies about why Mommy wasn't there. Around 2 a.m., I gave up and went to the living room. Daewon was awake too, working on his laptop. Can't sleep either? He asked. Keep thinking about them, about what Monday means. Come here. I sat next to him on the couch, and he showed me his laptop screen. It was the design sketches I'd made earlier, but he digitized them, rendered them in 3D. I had my team work these up, he said, just to see what they'd look like. Realized. Hope you don't mind. I stared at the screen. My designs, brought to life. The lobby concept with the Korean-inspired negative space. The restaurant with the window installations. All of it gorgeous, professional, real. This is what you could be doing, Daewon said, if you take the job. Not just the Manhattan property, all of them. Seoul, Tokyo, London. You could design hotels all over the world. Why me? You could have anyone. Because I don't want anyone. I want someone who sees design as poetry, who understands that spaces shape how people feel. He turned to look at me. And selfishly, because I want to see what you create when someone gives you unlimited resources and tells you to dream big. I looked at the renderings again, imagined seeing them built, walking through spaces I'd designed, watching people experience what I'd made. If I do this, I said slowly, I need to do it right. No shortcuts, no special treatment because of whatever this is between us. I need to earn it. You will. I'll make sure of it. And after Monday, after the custody hearing, I need time to figure myself out, to be just me for a while. I know, I'm not going anywhere. We sat there in the quiet, looking at designs and dreaming about what was possible. And for the first time since Theo had destroyed my life, I felt something like peace. My phone buzzed. A text from Delphine's iPad. They had their own devices for FaceTime with Theo's mother when she was in Korea. Mommy, it's Delphine. I miss you. My heart stopped. I texted back immediately. I miss you too, baby. So much. Daddy says you're not coming back. Is that true? No. I'm fighting to come back to you, I promise. Okay. Oriana's crying. She wants to talk to you. The iPad FaceTime rang. I answered, and there were my daughters, both in their pajamas, Oriana's eyes red from crying. "Mommy!" Oriana's voice was too loud, and I realized they were hiding. "We're in the bathroom so Daddy can't hear." "Baby, you should be sleeping." "We can't sleep, we miss you." Delphine's serious face filled the screen. "When are you coming home?" "I don't know yet. But I'm working on it. I have a meeting on Monday with a judge who's going to help us figure it all out." "What's a judge?" "Someone who makes fair decisions, who listens to everyone and then decides what's best." "Will you tell the judge we want you?" Oriana asked. "If I can, would you want that? Even though you'd still see Daddy too?" "Yes!" Both girls said it in unison. "Okay, then that's what I'll fight for." I could see Daewon in the corner of my eye, quietly giving me space. "Now you two need to sleep. It's late." "Will you sing us the song?" Delphine asked. "The one you always sing?" So I sang. The lullaby I'd sung to them every night since they were born. Watch their eyes get heavy. Watch them lean on each other. "We love you, Mommy," Oriana whispered. "I love you too. Both of you. More than all the stars in the sky." "And all the sand on the beach," Delphine added, finishing the refrain I'd taught them. They hung up, and I sat there holding my phone, tears streaming down my face. "They need you," Daewon said quietly. "And Monday we're going to make sure they get you." I finally fell asleep on the couch, my head on Daewon's shoulder, his arm around me. Not romantic, just human comfort when I needed it most. When I woke up Sunday morning, I found a note. "Apartment viewings at 11 a.m. Be ready. We're finding you a home. D." And despite everything, the fear, the uncertainty, the battle ahead, I smiled. For the first time in 7 years, someone was asking what I wanted, and I was finally ready to answer. Chapter 7. The first apartment was in Tribeca, all exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the Brooklyn Bridge. 2 bedrooms, modern kitchen, the kind of place I used to tear photos of from design magazines. The rent was $3,000 a month, exactly what I could afford with the Hansong salary. "Oriana would love this view," I said, standing at the window. The bridge glittered in morning sun, already busy with Sunday traffic. "Write it down," Daewon said. He'd been quiet all morning, letting me lead, staying a respectful distance back while the realtor showed us around. We saw 4 more apartments, a loft in Soho, a brownstone floor-through in Brooklyn Heights, a modern space in Chelsea. All beautiful, all possible, all empty of the life I'd built with my daughters. But I kept coming back to the Tribeca place. The view. The light. The way I could already imagine Oriana's room in yellow, Delphine's in purple. "This one," I said to the realtor. "If it's still available." "It is. When would you want to move in?" "Immediately." The paperwork took 4 hours. Background checks, employment verification, first and last month's rent plus security deposit. Daewon's company guaranteed everything, and by 3 p.m. I had keys to an apartment I still couldn't quite believe was mine. "Move-in day is Wednesday," the realtor said. "Congratulations, Ms. Moreau." Ms. Moreau, not Mrs. Park. The name felt like trying on new skin. In the car afterward, Daewon asked, "How are you feeling?" "Terrified. Hopeful. Like I'm building a life I might not get to live if tomorrow goes badly." "Tomorrow's going to go fine. You can't know that." "No, but I know Erica, and I know the evidence we have. And I know that you're going to walk into that courtroom and show them exactly who you are. A mother who would burn the world down for her children." He paused. "That's who wins custody battles, Alyssa. Not perfect people. People who refuse to quit." My phone rang. Erica. "I need you at my office in an hour," she said without preamble. "Theo's lawyer filed new motions. We need to prep." The new motions turned out to be character assassinations disguised as evidence. Statements from Theo's business partners about my erratic behavior at company events. From his mother about my difficulty adapting to Korean customs. From their family doctor who'd never actually examined me but was willing to speculate about postpartum depression based on concerning indicators. "This is all bullshit," I said, reading through it. I wasn't erratic. I was exhausted from being the only one taking care of the girls while he worked 18-hour days. And his mother's Korean customs were her demanding I make kimchi the way she did and criticizing me when I couldn't. "I know it's bullshit. The judge will probably know it's bullshit, but we still have to address it." Erica pulled out another document. "So here's what we're doing. Tomorrow morning you're going to tell your story. All of it. The isolation, the criticism, the way he controlled the finances, the way he made you feel like you were never enough. What about the evidence Daewon found, the housing discrimination, the hidden money? We'll use it if we need to. But I want to lead with you, with your truth." She leaned forward. "Theo is banking on the judge seeing a successful businessman versus an unstable woman. We're going to flip that script. Show them a victim of financial and emotional abuse who had the strength to leave. Will it work? Honestly, I don't know. Judge Morrison is old school, traditional. He might see a Korean man as more stable than a black woman, especially one who abandoned her home. But it's the truth. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes. Not always. Sometimes." I left Erica's office feeling sick. Back at the hotel, I tried to eat the dinner Daewon had ordered, but couldn't manage more than a few bites. "Talk to me," Daewon said, watching me push food around my plate. "What's going on in your head? What if it's not enough? What if the truth doesn't matter because I'm black and he's Korean, and the judge thinks he's more stable? Then the system is broken. But that doesn't mean we stop fighting." "Easy for you to say. You're not the one losing your children." The words came out sharper than I meant them. Daewon set down his chopsticks. "You're right. I'm not. I'm just the person who's trying to help." "Why?" The question burst out of me. "Why are you really doing this? Don't give me the speech about Sun High or seeing potential in me. Tell me the truth." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Because I know what it's like to lose someone you love and not be able to stop it." "What do you mean?" "My mother." He stared at his hands. "She left when I was 9, just disappeared one day. No note, no explanation. My father told everyone she'd gone back to Korea to care for her sick mother, but that was a lie. Where did she really go? I don't know. I was an adult before I found out she'd been planning to leave for months. That she'd been opening bank accounts, hiding money. That my father had been difficult, controlling." He looked up. He wasn't physically abusive, but he made her feel small, made her think she was failing as a wife, as a mother. And one day she couldn't take it anymore. "Did you ever see her again?" "Once. When I was 17. She tracked me down, wanted to explain. Said she'd left to save herself but regretted leaving Sun High and me behind. Said she thought about coming back every day but was too ashamed." His voice cracked slightly. "She died 2 years later. Cancer. By the time I found out, it was too late to say goodbye." I reached across the table, took his hand. "I'm sorry. Don't be. Just understand. When I watch you fight for your daughters, I'm watching someone do what my mother couldn't. What I wish she'd been strong enough to do. Stay and fight, even when it's hard." He squeezed my hand. "That's why I'm helping. Because I can't save my mother. But maybe I can help save you." We sat there in silence, Hands joined across the table, and I felt something shift between us. Not romance. We weren't there yet. But understanding. Connection. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Veronique. I know you hate me, but I need to talk to you. About Theo. About your daughters. There's something you need to know before tomorrow." I showed Daewon the message. He frowned. Could be a trap. Could be. But what if it's not? Then we meet her in a public place with witnesses. If she tries anything, we document it. I texted back. When and where? Her response came immediately. Tonight, 9 p.m., the coffee shop on 57th and 6th. Please, this is important. At 9 p.m., Daewon and I walked into the coffee shop to find Veronique already waiting. She looked different from the polished assistant I'd seen through the windows. Tired, pale, her blonde hair pulled, back in a messy ponytail. When she saw me, she flinched. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "I wasn't sure you would." "I'm here. Talk." She glanced at Daewon. "Is he—" "He's staying. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of him." Veronique nodded, her hands wrapped around a coffee cup she wasn't drinking. "I'm pregnant. 6 months. Theo's baby." I'd already known this from Erica's files, but hearing her say it still hurt. "Congratulations." "Don't." Her voice was sharp. "Don't congratulate me. This is a nightmare." "Then why are you having it?" "Because he won't let me do anything else. He threatened—" She stopped, swallowed hard. "Look, I'm not here to make excuses. I knew he was married. I knew it was wrong, but I thought he'd leave you for me. I thought I was different." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I've been living in your house for 2 weeks, helping with Oriana and Delphine while you've been gone, and I see what he's doing to them." My whole body tensed. "What's he doing?" "Erasing you. He removed all your photos from the house. He tells them you chose work over family. He bought them skin lightening cream and tells them they'll be prettier if they use it." Her eyes filled with tears. "I watched him coach Delphine to say that she's scared of your boyfriend. Watched him record Oriana saying she doesn't want to see you. He's building a case, Alyssa. And he's using those little girls to do it." I couldn't breathe, couldn't process what she was saying. "Why would you help him do that?" Daewon's voice was cold. "I didn't help him. I didn't stop him. And I should have, but I was scared." She pulled out her phone. "That's why I'm here. I recorded some of it. The coaching, the manipulation, I have videos." She slid her phone across the table. I pressed play on the first video. The screen showed Theo kneeling in front of Delphine in her purple bedroom. "Sweetie, tomorrow Daddy has to talk to a judge. And the YP judge might ask you some questions about Mommy. Can you help Daddy?" Delphine nodded, her face serious. "Good. So if the judge asks if you feel safe with Mommy, what do you say?" Yes?" "No, baby. Remember what we talked about? Mommy left you. She chose her boyfriend over you. That makes you feel sad, right?" "I guess. And scared. You're scared Mommy might leave again. Can you say that?" "I'm scared Mommy might leave again?" "Perfect. Good girl." I stopped the video, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. "There are 6 more," Veronique said. "All like that. Coaching them, manipulating them, teaching them to be afraid of you." "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because I'm 6 months pregnant with a daughter." She touched her belly. "And I realized this is what he'll do to her too. The moment she's not perfect, the moment she doesn't fit his image, he'll erase her. Just like he erased you. He could destroy you for this, legally, financially. I know, but I can't watch him destroy those little girls and do nothing." She pulled out a USB drive, set it on the table. "This has everything. The videos, text messages between us about handling the custody situation, Financial records he made me help hide. All of it. You're willing to testify? If I have to. But I'd prefer not to. I'm scared of him, Alyssa. Really scared. He's not who he pretends to be. I took the USB drive, held it like it was made of glass. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm complicit in this. I'm just trying to be slightly less of a monster before my daughter is born. She stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Oriana and Delphine love you. When he's not around, they talk about you constantly. About things you used to do together, songs you'd sing. You're in their hearts. He can't erase that. After she left, I sat there staring at the USB drive. This changes everything, Daewon said. With this evidence, he'll know it came from her. He'll destroy her. She knew that when she gave it to you. She chose to do it anyway. I thought about Veronique, pregnant and terrified, about making the choice to do the right thing even when it cost you everything. We use it, I said. Tomorrow. We show the judge exactly who Theo is. Back at the hotel, Erica reviewed the videos. I watched her face go from surprised to disgusted to coldly satisfied. This is gold, she said. This is exactly what we need. Can we use it even though Veronique doesn't want to testify? The videos speak for themselves, and if the judge demands to know the source, we'll cross that bridge then. She looked up. Alyssa, with this evidence, you're not just getting joint custody. You're getting primary custody, maybe even full custody. I let myself believe it for exactly 3 seconds. Then reality crashed back in. What if he has something we don't know about? What if there's more? Then we handle it. But right now, we have the advantage. Try to sleep. Tomorrow, we win this. But I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed replaying those videos, hearing Theo's voice coaching our daughters to be afraid of me, thinking about skin-lightening cream, about photos removed, about the systematic erasure of their black mother. Around 3 a.m., I gave up and went to the living room. Daewon was already there, working on his laptop. Couldn't sleep? Keeps thinking about what he's doing to them, what he's already done. Come here. I sat beside him on the couch. He closed his laptop, giving me his full attention. Tell me about them, he said. Not the legal stuff. Just tell me who they are. So I did. Told him about Oriana's obsession with building things, how she could spend hours with blocks creating elaborate structures that defied physics. About Delphine's quietness, the way she'd observe everything before acting, the way she'd surprise you with profound observations about the world. Oriana wants to be an architect when she grows up. She told me that when she was 3, said she wanted to build houses for people who don't have them. I smiled at the memory. And Delphine wants to be a scientist. Specifically someone who studies butterflies, because they start as one thing and become something completely different. They sound extraordinary. They are. They're the best parts of me and none of the bad parts of him. At least not yet. But if he keeps coaching them, if he keeps telling them their blackness is something to erase, I couldn't finish the sentence. That's what you're fighting for, not just custody, their identity, their right to be both Korean and black without apologizing for either. He paused. I can't imagine how hard that must be. Having to fight for your children to accept themselves. Is it like that in Korea? The colorism, the beauty standards? It can be. Korea is complicated, very homogeneous, very focused on appearance. Skin lightening products are everywhere. My mother used to use them. He looked sad. I remember asking her once why she wanted to be lighter. She said because lighter was prettier. I was 7 and it broke something in me, realizing my mother thought she wasn't beautiful enough. Did your father pressure her? Not directly. but he married her partially because she was lighter-skinned than other women in her village. He told her that once, like it was a compliment. She heard it for what it was, conditional approval. We sat in silence, both processing our own damage. "Tomorrow," I said finally, "when I see him in that courtroom, I need you to promise me something." "What?" "If I start to falter, if I look like I'm about to break, don't let me. Remind me what I'm fighting for, because he's good at making me doubt myself. 7 years of practice. You won't falter, but if you do, I'll be right there."
Monday morning, the courtroom. Everything Alyssa has fought for comes down to one hearing, but Theo has one more weapon she doesn't see coming, and when the judge makes his ruling, nothing will ever be the same. So here's what I need to know from you. What do you think happens in that courtroom? Does Alyssa get her daughters back? Or does Theo's final move destroy everything? If you were Alyssa, would you have accepted Day One's help? Or is he moving too fast, getting too involved? Should Veronique's videos be enough to win custody? Or will the judge see Alyssa as unstable no matter what evidence she has? And the real question, can Alyssa trust Day One? He investigated Theo for 4 years before they even reconnected. Is that love or obsession? Drop your predictions in the comments right now. I'm reading every single one. And if you need to see what happens next, if you're as invested in Alyssa's fight as I am, then you better hit that subscribe button because part 2 is coming and it's going to blow your mind. Like this video if you're Team Alyssa. Comment if you're Team Daewon or Team Alyssa needs to slow down. Share this with someone who needs to hear this story and subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Because trust me, the courtroom scene, the custody battle, what Theo does next, you are not ready. Sometimes the fight for your children means fighting for yourself. Part 2, coming soon.